Well, hello everyone, and welcome to my series on how to draw folk art animals of the world. Now, before we start, of course, as usual, could you subscribe? That would be terrific. Thank you very much. And also, if you could ring that little bell icon, that would be great. Thank you very much. Okay, now, what I'm going to draw today is a piece of Aboriginal art, Australian Indigenous, and highly decorative. And this is of a kangaroo, very typical animal, of course. Now, I'm going to start with the head and the long ear. And the animal is bounding to the left, you know. So I'll start with the ear, which is a kind of long leaf shape, like that. And then from the bottom line here, you come down and you draw the head shape, like that. Okay, so that's the head shape there. Then, of course, you come down to the neck. There's your neck shape there, see that? And then, because it's burning along like that, the back is almost horizontal, so you get this long curve coming up like that. A long, nice curve there. And, of course, the tail will come down and curve a nice graceful line like that, broadening as it goes to the top. Now this area here, of course, is the haunches of the animal, so very broad. So you get a nice kind of broad shape coming down, curving back, as animal springing forward. You have this long haunch shape there like that, and then the bottom part of the leg coming down like that. Very simplified, of course, and you get these kind of paw or claw shapes like that. Now underneath here, from this point here, you have the curve of the underside of the animal, and then the quite small front legs, broad at the top, curving, kind of held underneath the animal like that. Maybe a couple of claw shapes there, and the chest of the animal there. So it all kind of makes sense, okay? Now, decoration on most of these animals are done with dots and lines, very, very highly decorative. And dots are an important element in Australian Indigenous art. They were originally used to obscure circular secret information, you know, to keep it from outsiders, but also to create a visually stunning piece of work. Okay, now I want to start very simply with the eye shape here, and then you kind of make a pattern around it. You draw a pattern shape coming in, coming down there, like that, now down to the nose shape, like that. And you'll find that in a lot of these black and white drawings, which this one is, you have quite a dark outline going right around the edge of the character. So you bring your double line up like that, and I'll do that with the pen later on. But as I said, you know, continue to kind of work round the shapes. For instance, this part here, I would draw another line coming in there, a double line like that, and then perhaps one coming around the back of his neck. So you're still keeping that shape, and these spaces then I would fill in with rows of dots, and around there as well, right round like that, okay? And the back of the animal, as I said, would be doubled up with a heavy line, so I'm just going to put that in momentarily at the moment. There we go, like that. And back down to the tail. Now this shape here, of course, the lines would be doubled up, and usually you would find that the length of the tail is decorated by rows of dots. So you would start very carefully putting in rows of dots like that all the way up to here where they get bigger until about this point here, okay? Now remember I told you to think of the whole idea of the shapes of the characters. Well, this great big muscle here, the haunch, you can imagine that as a shape. Now that would be kind of used as part of your design. So you double that up, bring it around here like that, double your line down right to the bottom, and then perhaps in this shape here you find a lot of circles used in Aboriginal art. So draw a rough circle here like that, and then another circle there and another in the centre. And these lines would be doubled up, of course, nice and thick, and then round the edge there would be full of dots, and round the inside one full of dots as well. Now I won't actually finish doing that just now because I've got so much to do. I'll fill it in later on, but just to show you how I would do it. And around the outside edge, of course, you would get another row of dots. Keep them nice and close together, like that. See, they come down the shape here, like that. And then what you can do is, if you have these extra spaces, fill them in with shapes like that. So you have another one coming in, perhaps coming in there, like that. So you're just filling in that shape there, like that, okay? And of course, what you can do, of course, is then fill in the outside line shape with more dots, like that. Okay, as these dots continue around the outside shape there, you have a space here, so again, fill that in with another shape, like that. And this shape here would come up and maybe curve down there, because with this leg here, I'm going to fill it with dots, and as it comes up here and the dots get bigger, I'm going to bring the dots right up this line to join and get smaller to join there. So you're left with another space here, so fill that in with another shape there. See, we're trying to use the shapes of the actual animal, and of course you've got this nice big curve around here. So what I would do is I bring another line coming down, and I would curve it round like that, over this, because there'll be a big muscle here, curve it over here and down to the chest. So you get that nice organic kind of quality to it, like that. Nice curve of the animal coming in there. And because that has a natural kind of sharp curve there, I would fill that in with another circle. So we get another circle here and one in the centre, and then of course, like this one, I would do the outside almost like a target shape with circles, and then the inside I would do exactly the same, and the outside too. So you're bringing your circles, little circles, dots I should say, all the way around. And this curve here, you could again accentuate that by bringing it up and kind of almost following that one down there to try and get the nice curves of the animal coming in like that. Okay, and the neckline, again, you could exaggerate by putting in a couple of lines here and maybe coming in there, and then we could fill this area with more dots like that. Okay, and the same with this area here. We could maybe even have 2 rows of dots, because the more complicated you make it look, the better it will look, like that. The same with this here. We have a row of dots coming into this space, all around here, right? And again, we have, as I say, finish this line and then do another line of dots beside it. Double that line up. So we're continuing all the way around here, okay? And as I say, this muscle here, you can actually accentuate putting another line in here, maybe another stripe, like that, and then perhaps little dots along there. Now, the use of dots in these designs has become very much a part of Aboriginal culture, modern culture, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue to put these dots in, finish them off. There's a wee space that I missed, you know, put that in there, like that. And perhaps we can get another wee curve coming in here. That'd be nice, like that. So I can put my dots coming up here. But basically this is going to be black and white. So I'm going to go over all my lines with a black pen, and then I will fill in, for instance, just to show you, I'm going to go over my line here, like that, and double up the line, like that. And then once I've got the double up line, I would actually fill that in, make it black, okay, all the way around there. And of course these little dots they will be black too. I mean, I've drawn them like that as circles, but in actual fact they are solid dots. So I'm going to continue going right around the animal and thickening up these lines and making the dots black. So let's see how that looks as I'm working on it. Okay, as you can see, I've been working on those sketch lines that I did and putting them in with a black pen, and it's starting to look quite dramatic, isn't it? So I'm continuing here, again, just using my pen to go over my pencil marks. I rubbed it down slightly, by the way, with a putty rubber, because you can get kind of smears from your pencil if you're not careful. That's why I'm using this bit of paper here. But I rubbed it down a bit so that I can clean it up at the end more easily. So I'm continuing with these dots, nice and carefully, just a little dot at a time, going around the circles that I've made here. And then the inside. Like that, and a black shape in the center. And then, of course, these shapes that I put in like that. And the outline, of course, again, doubled up. Now I'm using a pen which has a brush tip on one side and a kind of more pointed tip on the other. And this one gives me a thick enough line so I don't have to go kind of filling in the double areas in. So I can bring that down like that, around the back of the leg, come right down nice and smoothly, control it all the way down, and then you can draw in the claw shapes that I had here, like that. And then I can start, of course, putting in the circles nice and carefully all the way up, like that. Okay, I'm going to continue doing that. I'll catch up with you in a second. Okay, I'm working my way towards the end now, and as you can see, I've actually changed my idea on as I've been doing it, because I had big circles coming up here, but I thought it'd be a lot more graphic to do lines of smaller circles like that. Okay, and just going to finish off after the third row right at the edge here, coming in there, and I'll stop there and then bring this line down like that, and I would get maybe slightly bigger because I'm going to join in to this line here, and then I would do another line to join up with the top line there, and just finish off by putting these circles in here right to the end of the foot, like that. Well, that's it finished, and all I have to do now is to clean it up, take my putty rubber and go over it, but wait until I know that it dries right away, but just to be careful, give it a couple of minutes, and then you can work over it with your putty rubber, okay? So that's it all cleaned up now, and I hope you'll agree that it looks quite striking. So I hope you can join me again for another tutorial on how to draw folk art animals of the world. But in the meantime, of course, all the best and happy drawing!